Hey guys.
Hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
David, Rupert,
Hello.
I'm Chris Gore, and this is Alan Ng, my colleague at Film Thread here. Great to meet you.
And you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, this is awesome. We're going to get to questions from our chat because I have a lot of people watching. I got to ask you, I saw the movie last night in the theater. People loved it. They thought it was delightful, incredibly creative. The friendship is awesome between the two of them, and the design is so cool, the sort of homemade design. How did you come up with this project? What inspired it?
This is a long.
Yeah, it's good though. I like.
Let's hear it.
It's quite a long anecdote.
People are interested. Yeah, that's why I set it up.
Okay. If you get bored, just say I'm getting bored. I've been doing stand up as Brian in the UK for about 10 years, and the character in the stand-up clubs was like the world's worst stand-up comedian. So I'd go on and purposefully tell bad jokes, and to varying degrees of success. Some nights it would go really well if people were on board, and other nights I'd be the most hated person in the venue.
And that's how we met, isn't it? I run some gigs in London, and David as Brian did my second ever show. And I just loved the character and sort of.
You fell in love with me.
I fell in love with him, yeah, on and off stage.
Yeah.
And then I just offered him a residency, and he did that for about 5 years, every month.
Yeah.
That was sort of the beginning of our relationship, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Over to you.
And then I started an internet radio show, and so Brian on this was like the world's worst phone-in host. So people would Skype in, and as Brian had struggled to have a conversation with them. And then one night, Rupert rang up, but he was a bit too shy to talk. So he used this voice software, which was Charles, and the relationship developed there over Skype.
It was like a weekly show, wasn't it? And he became a bit of a regular amongst a lot of other people. And then we were like, oh, we should do this live. It's really fun.
Yeah, well, Chris, who's in Charles in the movie, who's in the box, he was listening to the radio show and thought, I want to bring Charles to life. So he built him over a weekend or 45 minutes, however long it took. And then we did some live shows as Brian and Charles, with Rupert at the back voicing Charles. And then it was kind of running out of steam, and we thought, well, we just want to sort of immortalize the characters and put them on YouTube and then move on to the next project. And then people seem to like it. So, yeah.
So that helped with the development of the characters, and the characters, like, it's a very character-driven story, right? I mean, a lot of that's what indie film, I think, does best, is character-driven stories. What went into the design? Your friend who designed Charles, like, it's such a ridiculous, we were talking earlier before you came on, like the sort of box design of the, the torso, and when they go to bed and he has pajamas over the box, I just like burst out laughing. It's just so ridiculous and over the top, and also homemade and charming. So what went into the design? Well,
I think Chris, he wanted to make something cumbersome for the live show, something that was big, and just looked visually fun on stage. So he's like over 7 feet tall. So Chris is in this cardboard box, and he used a litter picker, attached that to the head. So he's in there, sort of controlling the mouth with the.
He's the new Andy Serkis.
And,
that's about it, though, isn't it? Really?
That's about it. But when we did the short, we really liked. Well, I think we did. We all agreed that we sort of liked that you could see there was a guy in there, and it was just human legs. So we quite like the cheeky side of that, where the audience might think, "Hang on a minute, this is the bloke in that." Yeah.
And when we did the feature, we were like, "Oh, should we like jazz him up and do a big upgrade?" But apart from like covering up the humanness of his legs, I don't think we did much more really.
No,
but from what existed before.
Well, the results are obviously so entertaining. We've got a lot of people in the chat that have comments and questions. If you don't mind going to that right now.
Sure.
Go for it.
Let's
Are
hear
they
it.
nice? Are they nice questions?
They're nice questions. Michael Sigrid says, I saw the preview for Brian and Charles at Top Gun Maverick, and it stands out far above commercial rubbish.
Ooh.
I will make
Wow.
it a point to see it. There
Oh,
you go.
wow.
Wow, with
humor
Top Gun
is-
Maverick, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm going to go see that this afternoon.
Charles K says British humor is the best.
Oh,
So, yeah. And then here we go. Shelby AC says, I just saw the trailer for this the other day. Can't wait to see it! Exclamation point. I was so struck by how original it looks. Very cool.
that's
There you
fun.
go. And then Scott F says, what got you into writing?
What got me into writing? God, I don't know. Pay the bills, really. So, I mean, when we were given, I'd never thought about writing a film before. It always felt like something someone else did. It felt like an untouchable thing. And then Film 4 approached us.
Yeah, they saw the short and they got in touch and they were like, we hadn't really even thought about it. They're like, have you thought about this as a feature film? We're like, no.
Yeah.
But Ollie Madden over there said, well, let's do a script and explore it. So, yeah. I mean, you'd written before that. That wasn't your first.
No, yeah, I had done like a sitcom or two, and but I'd never. When we first sat down, I thought, thinking about getting from page 1 to page 90 or whatever. I was just like, oh my god, how do you do that? And I was just really worried about how do you keep an audience entertained for more than 12 minutes? And so that was a big challenge and a huge puzzle to solve. Yeah.
I have to ask you about the character Brian. You talked about how it, I think it's difficult to create a character for a stand-up gig. What was kind of the in with the audience with that, and how did you kind of develop that?
How did I develop well, I mean, originally the character I came up with was a little video diary I did in my flat, and originally the character was a guy that would drive around music festivals and suck all the sewerage out of the toilets and then go.
Good backstory.
Yes, that was his backstory. But then I off the back of doing a short film, Ricky Gervais saw it, and I gained an agent, and they said you need to get yourself out there and do some stand-up. So I kind of thought, I'm not great at writing traditional jokes, so but hopefully I can go on stage and make people uneasy for 20 minutes. So that was, and it always just felt a bit naughty doing that in a stand-up club. So yeah.
Zach says that robot looks better than anything in Kenobi. So
Wow.
I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
Wow. There you go. Eric Douglas, what part of London are you guys from?
I'm from East London, a place called Clapton, in Hackney. But you're
I live
not
in
from
Devon, so that's southwest England on the way to Cornwall in the middle of nowhere. Yeah,
like Brian.
like Brian. Yeah.
Question here from Akanika. What about location scouting? It's at least from what I see, it's the British countryside, but it's absolutely beautiful. That setting is amazing.
Yeah, it's all in and around North Wales. When we shot the short, we just booked an Airbnb up there, sort of, and that ended up being sort of 20 minutes up the road, a lot of the stuff where we shot. But it was mainly Jim Archer, the director, he would just go off on these like long weekends and sort of drive around and find the perfect spot. And our location manager, Julia, sort of joined him, and yeah, it was just literally just driving around trying to find, Brian's house, the lake, all that sort. He had a sort of tick list, and yeah, sort of spot for choice really out there.
Someone just says, "Hey, Solomon Thornton, get these guys in charge of Doctor Who." So there you go.
Yeah. God, that would go downhill fast, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's a lightning rod you want to do.
This might be an uncomfortable question, but Patrick Lemire is going to ask it without being too specific. What kind of budget were you on? People have in their mind a certain type of film budget. It's inspiring to see something fresh that didn't have a big budget. I'll just say the budget probably wasn't like a Terminator movie, right?
Just under.
Just under.
All the money on screen. I guess you could say it's under 2 million.
Oh, well, I just think that also like having a lower budget forces you to be more creative, and then you end up with something that's so entertaining and surprising. So
yeah, I think that's what the short was like. We only shot it with about 4 crew or whatever. So, we tried to sort of keep the lo-fi approach to production going into the feature as well, which is helped by budget.
Shelby ACS, how do you like doing live shows versus longer form scripted stuff? Is there one you like better?
Yeah, I enjoy the scripted stuff. I find both very stressful. Like,
You find it embarrassing, I think.
yeah, I find it all a bit embarrassing, really. But I find doing live shows is so unpredictable when you get on stage, and you just never know if you're going to get a bottle thrown at you or if you know someone might giggle. Or I prefer doing the scripted stuff, but
Why? Because no one's going to throw a bottle at you.
well, it's less likely. Yeah, but I nearly pulled out of the film, didn't I?
Yeah, you did like a month before. He got the wobbles.
Yeah, I got the wobbles.
Oh no. Goober asks, what comedy influences did you channel?
Well, one of the main film references was American Movie, documentary about the filmmaker Mark Borchardt, which I absolutely adore, and that little comedy duo. Well, they're not comedy duo, just the little friendship in the center of it. I mean, Ricky in The Office was a big influence for me.
Neil Hamburger, were you a fan of his?
Yeah, Neil Hamburger. There's a UK comedian called Harry Hill who I've absolutely adored and he was my sort of inspiration to get into comedy. And yeah, what about you? Me?
Yeah, you, yeah.
Yeah.
Quick comment here from Michael Seagriff. 2 million, no worries. We will drive your film into profitability in no time, Vlad.
Oh,
Thanks, Michael.
I love
That's
you,
really
Michael.
reassuring.
Oh, that's great. Flaccid Phoenix has a question here. What was your favorite shot to shoot in this movie? Do you have a favorite shot?
A shot. Well, I think my favorite scene is just them boiling cabbages in the kitchen. I really enjoy just them doing the mundane jobs around the house. So that scene, just sort of before Charles starts dancing, I'm like, I think I could watch them make cabbages or boil cabbages for about an hour. It should have been that, really.
That's the next one.
That's Brian and Charles too. Yeah.
And Solomon Thornton asks, really unique and creative. What other films do you guys want to create?
Well, I'm really keen to. Well, come on, you.
Well, no, we'd love to do another Brian and Charles. We feel like that the world we've created is, warrants going back to. Just lots more comedies, but ultimately working, like we did with our friends and being very collaborative, really. But yeah, more comedy with a bit of heart.
I always sort of keen to, like with Brian and Charles, we sort of had Wallace and Gromit in mind and like a live action Pixar. So I'm keen to just try and do something that's accessible for all the family with a little bit of magic involved. Yeah.
Comment from All Twisted Up. American Movie is great. I mean, I didn't recognize it, but now that you mention it, now I see the influence from it, the slight influence, because there's a bit of a mockumentary aspect to it, talking to the camera.
Sort of following an obsessive.
As something unfolds.
Unfolds. Yeah.
Well, why isn't there a movie, that's almost like American, like there's so many movies with the word American at the beginning of the title. I think part of that is because it starts with the letter A. Why isn't there a movie called British Movie?
It's a good idea. Maybe that's the next film.
Yeah.
British Movie.
Yeah.
More comments. Scott Slaughterbeck said, these guys are really funny. This film must be good. On my list. There you go. And then
that was my mum.
Al Favor for $10 says, American entertainment is trash at the moment. I find myself retreating to Faulty Towers, An Idiot Abroad, Shaun of the Dead, etc. to have fun. This looks like it would fit in perfectly.
I went to see, I live near the Faulty Towers Hotel.
Oh, wow.
No, it's been knocked down.
The Fatty Owl or the
yeah. So it's been knocked down now, and they've just put a block of flats up. But I dragged my family there, and we sat outside in the car for like 10 minutes.
And Giles Ducranair, I know I pronounced that incorrectly, for $6.99 says, David Earl loved you in Derek. We'll definitely see the film. I know my name is hard to pronounce. No worries. Sorry, Giles. Tell us about Derek.
That was the first kind of big thing I did. Ricky just rang me up and said, look, I'm filming this thing in the end of the year. Do you want to, I'll give you a part. I was like, oh my God. So yeah, and we had so much fun with Carl and Ricky, and so much space to improvise and play, and yeah, I owe him quite a lot. Whenever because he always backed me in the early days, and whenever I had a bad gig in the club, I'd sort of had Ricky's voice in my ear going, "Don't worry, keep going."
Equally, didn't he? Were you his support act, weren't you? And he would just bring you on for entertainment.
Yeah,
because he know that you'd tank or whatever.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Question from Patrick Lemire: how many Charles did you have as a backup?
I think we only had the one body, but we had 4 heads. But they were all like weird, varied colours, because we bought the one for a short on eBay, or Chris bought it on eBay, and then Jim, the director, when we were doing the feature, panicked and bought like 6 of them on eBay, but they're all like different colours. So yeah, there's a lot of heads, but no backup bodies.
All Twisted Up says, will Brian and Charles be hitting any streaming services? I think it's just in America, just in theaters currently.
Yeah.
Am I correct?
Yeah, I think there is that will happen. Yeah, eventually.
Yeah, it's Focus Features is putting it out.
Yeah.
And they do a pretty good job of getting it out there after the theatrical run.
Yeah.
So it'll turn up on a streaming service eventually. Dempsey says, if you could work with any person, alive or dead, who would each of you pick? Okay.
Hard one. I'm just going to the dead person for some reason.
Oh man, I don't know. It's too. I can't think on my feet. Sorry.
It's okay. CD Stein 69 says, perfect idea for Brian and Charles to road trip on Route 66 for holiday. Then on the back roads of America would be incredibly entertaining. I mean, not to be spoilery, but there's room for a sequel.
I mean, I'd love to see the most boring road trip in the world and just see them.
Just have one shot like a
Route 66 could be a good one then.
Yeah,
Great.
eating snacks, nothing really happening.
They could end up in Vegas.
Yeah.
Flaccid Phoenix asks, what is your dream project to work on in the future?
I want to be a voice on a Pixar movie.
There you go.
There you go. And I want to meet Steven Spielberg. I'll die a happy man then.
Yeah. Patrick Lemire, just to remind people, this movie is in theaters, says AMC and Regal are dedicating screens to Brian and Charles a decent amount. I saw it at my AMC Burbank 16 last night with a crowd, and they all loved it.
How did it go?
It's at my local AMC as well. So.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Just to let people know. And then this is, I don't know if I understand this question necessarily. Derek Douglas asks, Jaws is a perfect example of that. Spielberg had to create rather than just say, that's what I want. Like,
I think the robot design is what
the robot design. Yeah. I love the design of the robot. I think it's so, are you going to put when it comes out on Blu-ray or DVD, will the short be included on the DVD?
Yeah, I'm sure we can look into that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Cool. And then
you were saying yesterday that the jaws kept breaking in the film. Is that you saying that? We never had that in with Charles.
We went to the Universal
lot yesterday
and had a little trip round and
saw Jaws.
Wait,
and Spielberg's office.
I really wanted to knock on there.
We put a flyer under his door.
Yeah. And he just picked it back.
Nate Winchester, as someone who has done a robot in little productions before, you didn't have any problems with overheating, did you?
No, there was no mechanics to it. But and also we were in North Wales in like deep winter, so Chris was the warmest one in there, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Hiding in his little box. But I don't think he was hot. No.
And Nate goes on to say, hey, he does look like he could be Spielberg's stunt double.
Oh, God, yeah, you really do.
Yeah.
Oh, me?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Glasses.
Yeah, maybe we'd really get on.
Yeah.
Yeah, who does he look like?
And then Not the Batman says, hey, they can go to the world's biggest ball of twine. We have a lot of weird tourist attractions in the United States.
Are you saying this for the road movie?
Yeah, for the sequel. Shelby AC asks, she asks, any advice for creative people? Sometimes I find it hard to be really fearless and worry too much.
You're talking to the right guy. No, I'm exactly the same. Oh my God.
I don't think you should worry too much, though.
How do you do that?
I don't know. I think you just got to do it. You just got to go for it. That's the same with the short, really. We couldn't get that made, so we just did it ourselves, and you put it out. You just never know.
I
So
heard a
you've got to
great
do that.
quote from Peter Gabriel,
Go on.
and he said, "Use your enthusiasm as your compass." I think that's lovely.
Yeah, that is life.
So, whatever you're into, just follow that, and hopefully something will come. That was a really nice moment, actually.
It's lovely. End of interview. I'm going to start crying.
And Nate Winchester asked, might the DVD include any of your live shows with Charles as well? Or is there any way to find them? Are they on YouTube?
There's a couple of on YouTube. We used to do a game show with Brian and Charles called Challenged. There's a bit on there where we recreated a scene with Paddy Considine from Dead Man's Shoes. So there's a bit of live stuff on there. We've also got a video which we'll probably publish online of the first time Charles met you on stage, like when the first time he was unveiled.
Yeah.
The
Just in the back of a pub.
Yeah, upstairs in a pub.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a bit out there.
And Patrick Lemire has a comment here. Give I'm Alan Partridge a try. It's very Midlands focused as opposed to London.
Yeah, all set in Norfolk.
Well, you work with him.
Yeah, he's my boss, Steve Coogan.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. And last question here from the chat. Dempsey, how has filmmaking scene changed since you started in the industry?
Well,
We've only been here 5 minutes.
I think it's changed a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, the last 10 mins. Yeah. No, I mean we've literally just joined it. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you guys, David and Rupert, for coming on the Film Threat Livecast today. Hundreds of people watching. Want to say go see Brian and Charles. You will have a great time at the movies. And thank you for joining us. I'm dying to see the short film now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Check it out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Any final words for everyone here?
Just thanks for being kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're quite vulnerable.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
All right, take care. Have a great rest of your weekend. Congratulations on the movie, and see it in a theater with an audience. And if you guys are in town, you should go check it out with a live audience. I think you'll love it.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.